Become aware of your self-talk. The journey of exploration into our creativity utilized the creativity perspective to look to see where individuals were not holding their creativity sacred and were being robbed of their creative power and creative ability in some way. It was found self-talk, that inner dialogue we have in our own mind, was one of the major ways we rob ourselves of our creative power and creative ability. One of the more important things we can do to access and expand our creativity is to become aware of any and all limiting self-talk we may have. There are two issues related to self-talk of which to become aware that impacts our creativity. One issue is the conversations we have within ourselves about ourselves. The second issue is how we talk about ourselves to others. We could write books about both of these topics, and there are many books and videos out there in the world that do address these topics. All we wish to do here is bring your awareness to the existence of self-talk and for you to become attentive to self-talk so you can then take whatever actions you feel appropriate. Relative to our creativity, self-talk becomes extremely important because of the nature of our mind. Our mind retains what it hears, and if it hears something often enough, it will believe what it hears. Actually, under the correct conditions, mind will hear something once and it will believe it. The question is, do the conversations within ourselves and what we say about ourselves empower us? Or does what we say somehow rob us of our own creative power? Energy is necessary for all movement. Creative power is about creative energy necessary to manifest and or animate a creation. To create something, you need to have the energy to create it. Within a human being, the creative energy and the creative power is related to the degree of passion we have for what we wish to create. However, one cannot act if there is no desire or ability to act. So the question is, what are the things that rob us of our desire to act? We cannot fix something if we do not understand what is occurring. But when we understand, we then have the possibility to change it. But then the question is, do we have the ability to change it and act on the power that becomes available? Do we understand it sufficiently, and do we have tools to do what we need to do and what needs to be done? Relative to self-talk, we need to come to understand how derogatory or disparaging comments cause us to lose enthusiasm for life or cause us to act in any way that robs us of our creative power. All are probably aware we do not like to be around anybody who's continually putting us down in some way or criticizing us. So why do we want to be with ourselves if we are continually criticizing ourselves in our internal dialogue? Any comment we tell ourselves that does not motivate or excite us is robbing us of our creative power. Similarly, our minds hear what we tell ourselves and we begin to believe it, and we begin to become what we believe. So it's essential we become aware of the comments we make internally or comments we use to describe ourselves externally. Internal comments like, "Boy, that was a stupid thing to do," or "I don't have the talent to do that," whatever that may be, or "I'm not loved," "people hate me," or any other type of comment that is self-defeating in any way is robbing us of our power. In understanding these are self-defeating comments and we become aware of this self-talk, we then have the possibility of rephrasing them to something neutral or more motivating. In addition to becoming aware of our internal dialogue and self-talk, we need to become aware of how we present ourselves to others. When we are offered a compliment for doing something, do we play down or deny the comment? For example, we are offered a compliment such as, "That was really a nice painting you did." Do we respond with something such as, "Oh, it's okay, it could be better"? Or do we reject the praise and even add our own criticism? Or do we just accept the comment and say, "Thank you"? Now, when we receive comments, I would suggest we tell ourselves, "Someone appreciates my painting," and digest the comment as we would feel in eating something we love to taste. Allow oneself to enjoy the taste of the compliment. Now, if for some reason we still feel inside ourselves that the painting was not adequate, then we need to ask ourselves, "They like what I painted, I wonder how I can improve what I did paint." Here we accept what we did, and it may not be as good as it could be, but we do not degrade ourselves. Rather, we optimistically look and know that we have the ability to improve beyond what we currently do. The bottom line here is to not degrade or downgrade our accomplishments when we are recognized by another. It needs to be noted that in rephrasing our self-talk, we are also exercising our creative power and creative ability to consciously change our life. It needs to be clearly understood our mind hears and believes what it hears, whether we are telling ourselves or another is telling us. There is no reason whatsoever we should not allow our mind to hear positive and constructive comments. If we are going to tell ourselves such generalized lies such that I am not loved or people hate me, there's no reason why we cannot tell ourselves a positive lie. Of course, to say everyone loves me is a lie, for there is always at least one person who would disagree with such a statement. But there is no reason whatsoever to not say such things in our own internal dialogue, for in most cases we are acceptable to others. Maybe not everybody, but to many. Changing our internal dialogue to positive comments is not that hard. For example, changing, boy, that was stupid, to, I was unaware of fully understanding the situation, and we might add, I choose to pay more attention in the future. Similarly, we can change a statement such as, I don't have the talent to, or that is something I never really tried to do. Now, in becoming aware of such statements and rephrasing them in a more positive and constructive way, we are also exercising and improving our creativity. The bottom line on self-talk is to understand our mind listens to all that it hears and is very susceptible to suggestion. From a creativity perspective, it is suggested we look at every thought our mind hears as like a seed. If conditions are correct, that seed will take root and grow within our mind and eventually bear fruit reflected in how we respond in life. And our mind is tremendously fertile for the thoughts we hear. Our mind is much like any garden. It needs to be cultivated. And as with any garden, there are things we wish to grow, and then there are weeds that can destroy the garden unless they're removed.